Okay. Um, so I want to go through, let's look at open houses from a 30,000 foot view first. Okay. Um, there are, I actually think, well, no, it wasn't you. So any lead generation strategy works if you work it. Okay. If you get a chance to meet somebody, the strategy is working. If you don't get paid, it's because it didn't work enough, or you didn't do it enough, or the follow-up was lacking. Okay. But if you do an open house and you end up with a new client, then the strategy worked, right? Because again, everyone's going to have to live somewhere. So the point of the vast majority of lead gen strategies, just like this one, is, can I create a reason or an excuse, so to speak, to get in front of another human being so that I can build a relationship with that person so that ultimately I can help them, right? So if, for example, you, and I'm not trying to offend anyone here, y'all, or anyone that might watch this in the future, but if you post on Facebook Saturday morning, hey, I'm available to do an open house today, and by chance you get one, don't be surprised if the results aren't good, right? If you put in very little prep and very little follow through, and you don't tell that many people it's happening, or you don't give enough time for people to learn about it, yeah, you're not going to get that great a result, right? So yeah, back when I did open houses, I woke up late on Sunday morning and I threw a couple of balloons on a few flyers or a few directionals, and then I expected the whole world to show up. Problem was, nobody came, or 3 or 4 people came or whatever, right? So it wasn't a smashing hit. Now, did I meet people there? Yeah. Could I have plussed it? Could I have gotten better results? Of course. So just like any project, you have to say to yourself, what is let's take it in 3 phases: pre-open house, open house, post-open house. Okay. Now we know that every system just needs we're going to have some tools, some resources, some scripts, some collateral, a process, and a checklist, these kind of things, right? So if you treat it like a hobby, right? If it's very haphazard, like, oh man, I forgot the sign-in sheet today, or oh, I forgot more pens, oh, I forgot the hand wipes or whatever, right? Then you're going to have haphazard results. If you say, hey, let's just take a moment and think of every single resource that I might need at the open house: measuring tape, a coloring book, a sign-in page, a, um, a seller's disclosure statement, just coming up with random things. You should have a checklist that says, hey, I want to make sure all this stuff is here, instead of winging it, right? If we wing it, we get mediocre results. If we are strategic and intentional, then we get great results. So open houses is not unlike any other lead gen strategy. If you quote unquote try FSBOs for a day or two, and you call 10 and you talk to one and the person was mean, you haven't earned the right yet to say FSBOs don't work for me. You just haven't worked enough for FSBOs. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, beautiful. So I want to adopt that same strategy when it comes to open houses. So you got a couple of choices. You can say to yourself, well, I want to do an open house this week, so I'll just post online that I'm available to host an open house. And then no one jumps out at you, and a few days pass and no one jumps out and offers you the opportunity. What you're doing is you are in reactive mode. Okay, reactive mode, it may not get you an open house. Proactive mode would be, I am going to tell the world I want to do an open house on Monday, and I'm going to find me an open house. I don't care what I have to do by Wednesday, because I've got 3 days of stuff I got to do prior to the open house in order to make it worth my energy and time, right? So when somebody says, oh, we can do an open house at my place on Sunday, it's just a lack of foresight if they're doing that on Saturday. I mean, that's just, it's not going to work as well as it could. Do y'all follow me on that?
Exactly. Yeah, makes sense.
So if you wait around for somebody to knock on your door and say, hey, is there an agent in here that's waiting for me to reach out with a listing and see if they want to host the open house for me? Like if you don't have a listing, go find a listing or go find an agent with a listing and quit waiting around to get the call. You got to go get it. Okay. That's the sacrifice that we have to make in order to, run a predictable business. Otherwise, we're totally giving control to someone else. I want to do an open house. I'll post it 2 places and hope to God somebody responds. But maybe they respond with a listing in Cartersville. Well, I don't really want to work in Cartersville that much. But if I go do it, then I'm going to get a bunch of leads in Cartersville, hopefully. And then I'm going to be in Cartersville for the next couple months. So are you being strategic, or are you in the lead receiving business? Okay. So that's kind of the overall concept with any lead generation is you say open houses. In order to maximize open houses, I'm going to need to get intentional and strategic. Is there anyone who has ever been intentional or strategic with open houses that I could copy? Is that a fair first question? Right? So you go into KW Connect or you go onto YouTube and type in open houses, right? Awesome open house for agent. You watch a couple of videos, you see what people are doing, right? How are you communicating to the neighborhood that the home is going to be open? How are you prepping the home? Are the owners there or are they gone? Where's the sign-in page? What questions are you asking? Do you ask them to sign in when they walk in, when they leave? Do you have a sanitation station set up? Do they take the shoes off or not? Do you follow them around the home or don't you? Do you do it by yourself or with someone else? Right? And one person, if you're going to have 30 people at an open house, one person can't handle that. Right? And then I'll ask you on Monday, well, how was the open house? And you'll say, oh, well, there were so many people, I hardly got a chance to talk to anyone. Well, what the hell did you do it for? Right? We have some foresight. Let's plan that. So it's a smashing success. Does that make sense? All right, let's just do a real quick around the room on what is the primary open house problem or question or concern you have right now. And I'll make sure I hit on all that stuff while we're going through kind of some analysis. Jenny.
I've done a couple of open houses, so I'm now finding out what I did do, didn't do, should have done, shouldn't have done, or should have done. So I'm learning. I can't think of
Are you open to
anything.
sharing any of that? What did you learn? What did you learn, for example?
So the last open house, we went door knocking the week before, and I met some potential buyers, and I did not take down their information at all. I just was knocking on doors and not keeping track of which house I went to follow up. So
okay,
that was one big one. I was like, yes, I should have gotten their address, sent them a thank you letter, and followed up.
Okay, anything else that you learned?
Questions to ask, just why they came in, and are they looking around in the area, just asking them lead questions, trying to get a better idea of their purpose and being in the open house.
Okay, and do you have is that something you're asking them to write out, or are those a series of questions that you've memorized so that you can ask them at the appropriate time while they're in the house? What's the specific way you've adopted that lesson?
Well, I probably should write them down. I have not done that yet. So
okay,
I'm thinking out loud right now.
No, beautiful. I appreciate you sharing. Okay, so let's take some notes all together. The purpose of every interaction is to get their contact information. I don't know how many times I have to say this. If you hand somebody a business card and say, oh, I'm a realtor, if you ever have any questions, here's my card. That doesn't work.
Yeah. We
It
did have a
doesn't work.
sign up sheet, just FYI. We did have a sign up sheet and we asked them to fill out their information on that. So we did have that.
Oh, great. Okay, perfect. My point is that nobody actually, that's not going to work. And even if it did, you lack control. The card is out in the universe somewhere. Maybe it's in the trash, maybe it's in that person's closet or whatever, but you don't have any control over any future conversations with that person. If there's anything that we learned today, is that you've got to take control. Meaning you get their information. Now you're probably going to have to barter for it. Meaning I will give you such and such, or if you want such and such, I can send it to you, right? Vendor list, neighborhood nurture, introduction to a vendor, introduction to a lender, an opportunity to schedule a consultation privately, right? Anything that you can offer to them for them to say, oh, I think I'd like that. And would you like to be in my database is not a good approach, right? Hey, we have a vendor list, and if you mention my name when you speak to the vendors, they'll give you a 10% off. Would you like me to send you that vendor list? I'll need your email address, right? Or, hey, we've got this new piece of technology called the neighborhood nurture. Here's how it works. Here's how it works. Want to see mine? Would you like this? I'll need your email and I'll need your mailing address or the home address that you live in. I can actually set it up for you right now. Would that be okay? Would you prefer it every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks? Which one's better for you? I didn't ask, would you like it each 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or would you like to never hear from me again? I didn't give that option. Follow? So every situation that you find yourself in, ask yourself, how am I setting up the situation for me to be in control of the next interaction? Right? So all of those door knocks and all that kind of stuff, you need to take a couple seconds outside of that home and say, okay, 124 Hill Street. Mrs. Smith, her daughter's name is Sarah. They have a big Rottweiler. Son goes to Georgia Tech. Okay, jot it down. Go knock on the next door. They're renting. Their lease ends in September of next year. Want some information about my next home buyer seminar. Email is this. Okay, great. Go to the next door. Right. So every single time you're taking control of what is the value exchange going to look like. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so let's move on to the next person. Jenny, did I touch on some of the stuff you wanted me to touch on? Or I was really just responding to you kind of quickly, and then I'll go over the whole package. But the takeaway from that should be, we want to take control of how we communicate with these people in the future. We need to have a laundry list of things we can do for people in it that we might need to trade for contact information, right? Mm-hmm. I can introduce you to my lender to see if you can save a few $100s a month and by refinancing. I can pull some comps for you so you can see what your home might be worth right now. I could connect you with an insurance agent to make sure that your insurance policy coverage levels match the new value of your home, right? We've talked about that a little bit in bold. The question is like, what can I do to help you? The purpose of all these conversations should be to try to figure out what problem they have and then offer a solution to that problem. And the only way they're going to get the solution to the problem is to give you some contact information. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's helpful.
All right, and we'll cover the sign in and that kind of stuff here in a bit. Tracy, what are you hoping to learn today, or what is your biggest kind of mind block or kind of dilemma, so to speak, regarding open houses?
Just pretty much like how you go about getting them, and you kind of touched on that, what the process is for requesting them, and pretty much like questions to talk about, things to talk about during the open house. You touched on that also. You want to get information, find out why they're there, that kind of thing.
Okay. All right, let me jot down a couple things. So buyer intake, find them. Okay, cool. Anthony.
I was going to say that might be helpful just from, getting an open house, what you need to set up and market, to the process of the open house, just the whole thing, maybe
Yep.
from A to Z. So
Yeah, we'll get there. Absolutely. Okay, Anthony.
Okay. I guess basically I don't know if I'm phrasing this right. The value of doing the open house on both days, because you hear mixed communications, like just do it on a Saturday and don't do it on a Sunday. And then the time frames. What's, I guess, what are the good time frames to do it? I hear 3 hours, 2 hours. And one of the things that I did on my open house, I did a 2-day, 2 to 4, and 2 to 4. And I did do the sign-in sheets as well, asking the questions when they walked in. I welcome them. Are you currently working with an agent? Things of that nature.
Don't ask that question. I'll come
Don't
back
ask that
to that
question.
on that.
Okay, great. And then on the sign-in sheet, I guess legibility, because you get people that they'll fill out the sign-in sheet, and then when you get it, you're like, okay, great, I got a potential lead here, and I kind of slid it to the side, and then when I get to looking at it afterwards, I'm like, well, what do I got here? I can't make out.
What do you mean afterwards? After you get home?
When if they've left the home, I'll look at
Don't let them leave the home.
Okay, gotcha.
When they sign it, you
If
look
I
at it
can't
and
make
say,
it,
hey,
if I can't make it out,
is this an A or a Q?
gotcha.
Because the information you're asking for, it's critical that I get it to you. So is that an A or is that a Q?
Gotcha. Thank you.
Okay, never ask, do you have an agent? That's like if you come into the shirt store and I say, do you want some help? Of course you're going to say no, because you don't want a sales pitch.
So is it currently, are you currently working with an agent?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there.
Gotcha.
So if I work in a Nordstrom's or whatever, and you come in and you're looking to buy a shirt and I say, hey, can I help you? You're going to say no, right? You're not even going to think about it. That's just a natural response. The natural response is to say, no, I'm not interested in help. When you know damn well they wouldn't have walked in the door if they didn't want help. Everyone wants help. They want to save time and money. Hey, I'm here for a blue shirt. Show me a pretty blue shirt. I got things to do. Right? But it doesn't work that way for some reason. So if you ask, do you have an agent or are you currently working with an agent? If they don't want a sales pitch from you, they'll probably just say yes. And then there's nothing else that's going to happen, right? But if you ask them a different way, which would be, so who is the real estate agent that you're currently working with, right? Number one, you're assuming that, you wouldn't dare buy a home without an agent, right? Right? So who is the real estate agent that you're currently working with? And then also it's something called a pattern interrupt. It's a language style or language tactic, if you will, where it's just not the question they're expecting. They're expecting, do you have an agent? But if you ask, well, who is your agent? Or sometimes like in the 3 ask script, we say, when it comes to real estate, who is it that you trust? It's the same question, right? What I'm asking them is, give me their name. I want to know their name. Because what I know is that you probably don't have anyone you trust, right? And secondly, your relationship is probably not strong enough, meaning it might sound something like this. Anthony, ask me who the agent I'm working with is.
So who is the agent that you're currently working with?
Is it Mike, Matt? Hey, Rachel, who's our agent again? Guess what? Wide open, right?
Gotcha.
You might say to yourself, have you officially signed something with that person?
Mm-hmm.
And to which they'll probably say no, because otherwise they'd probably know who it was.
Mm-hmm.
But if they stumble all over the answer, it means the relationship is weak. And when the relationship is weak and it's unsigned, it's yours for the taking. When it's weak and signed, of course, you got to back off. But if they're like, Well, I kind of work with Lori every once in a while, but do I trust her? I don't really know. The stats say if you line up 100 buyers and sellers that claim to have a relationship with a real estate agent, 9 of them will use that real estate agent in their next transaction. 9. That's of the people that claim to have a relationship with an agent. Okay, then you got a whole nother group of people that don't have a relationship with an agent. And if I was to guess, that's easily 80%. Easily. Okay, then you have the stat that says that roughly 74% of sellers and buyers will work with or agree to work with the very first agent they interview. Guys, you just have to be the first agent and not botch your presentation, and you should have clients left and right. Does that make sense? Okay, so don't worry if there's other real estate agents that live in the neighborhood or have sold more property than you. They're not going to be as diligent and intentional as you. Make sense? So always ask, who is the agent that you're working with? Because they might say, well, we've met a couple of people, but we haven't signed anything. Wonderful. Tell me a little bit about what that experience has been like. Have you seen anything you like? What part of town are you guys looking in? You know, have you put any offers in? You know, are you still interviewing agents? Right? You're just having open-ended conversations. And these questions, by the way, are on a buyer intake form, which I'll show you guys here shortly. Larry, what anything in particular you want to learn about with respect to open houses today?
No, sir, just listening. This is jam-packed information.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's talk about finding them and let's talk about what day and times.
Bill, you skipped me, so I'm going to chime in real quick.
Oh, I certainly didn't do that on purpose. I apologize.
You're so fine. For me, like, I'm kind of like Jenny, where I've been like, I've made a mistake, and then the next door I knocked on, like, I fixed that mistake. So by the end of it, I was getting contact info. But for me, like, during the open house, it's definitely in the follow-up. And I say that in regards to like some of these buyers who are just starting out, who are maybe 6 to 9 months, you know, beforehand. You know, I've been setting them up on the smart plans, but I've realized by the time I get to like maybe the 3rd or 4th touch, I'm almost like stumping myself a little bit on the content or the value that I should be offering at that time. So I would love to discuss that.
All right. I'm trying to decide if I want to say this now or later. How do I want to say this? You guys, Melissa, can I be honest with you?
You can always be honest with me.
You don't have enough clients for smart plans right now. None of y'all have enough clients for smart plans.
Oh, okay, sure. Okay.
If somebody walks into an open house and they need to be courted at a handful of different times over the course of the next 6 months, then write them down and call them and text them and send them video text during the, you don't need to set up some email that's going to drip to them in 3 weeks that they're not going to pay attention to. I'm not trying to diss on smart plans, but it's all passive and it's not good content usually, and they need to hear your voice. When you have 600 clients, we'll talk about smart plans.
Sure.
Stop worrying
Okay.
about smart plans.
I totally appreciate that. And I will clarify that I kind of use the term smart plan. It's more of, to me, like, I know weekly or every other week I need to touch this person or check in with this person. So again, it's just like that, that content or value, because they are so early in the stage, without like repeating yourself too much.
Beautiful. All right, I'll take care of that when I talk about the post open house strategy.
Perfect.
All right, did I miss anyone? Sorry, I'm not trying to come off strong. I keep hearing brand new agents talk about smart plans. Y'all don't need to focus on smart plans right now. You got to talk, you got to focus on finding new human beings to help. Okay.
No, Bill, that's honestly, that's refreshing and really helpful because people kind of, certain people will drill like smart plan, smart plan, smart plan. And I've kind of asked myself the same question, like, I don't even have enough people to get lost in a smart plan. So,
Yes.
so thank you.
If there's any smart plan that you need to set up right now, it is a quarterly call based on DTD2. The only way that's going to work is if you open command every day and look to see who it's telling you to call. The other one that I might suggest putting out there is a birthday plan, right? So if you know their birthday, the thing will pop up and say, hey, call Anthony, it's Anthony's birthday. That's something you could do if you wanted to be like everyone else. If you wanted to be unique, then maybe you set an alert to call to say, hey, next Wednesday, or what's today, Tuesday? Next Tuesday is Anthony's birthday. So I call Anthony today, or send him a video text today and say, Anthony, I'm looking at my sheet here and I see your birthday is next Tuesday, and I wanted to be the first person to wish you happy birthday. So that's why I'm calling you this week. Was I the first person? Right? And make a thing out of it, right? Otherwise, you're just gonna be lost in the shuffle of, yeah, like happy birthday, nothing unique about that at all. Right? We're trying to create unique experiences. Oh, hey, Anthony's the birthday guy. He always calls. So if next year, Anthony's birthday is on a Tuesday and I don't call him a week ahead of time, he's gonna be like, dude, I hope Bill's okay. Is Bill okay? Right? I once had somebody question me on something I sent them. And they said, you didn't send it to me. I said, look at your email right now. We're gonna do this together. Because if I tell you it's happening, it's happening. If I tell you something's happening and it doesn't happen, call the cops. Something's going on. Make sense? Okay. Time frames. I know this sounds crazy, but it depends. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to figure that out. I mean, like, I might say 1 to 4, but if the Falcons are playing at 1, I might have a lousy turnout. Maybe I do it from 4 to 6. I mean, it could be any time, right? People will do open houses sometimes on weeknights, right? Hey, 4 to 7 open house. Come in, follow the balloons, and on your way home, grab a cup of coffee and some donuts, or some cookout or whatever, like you guys have done downtown, right? So what can you do that is slightly unusual, right? So if you do like 1 to 4, you may not catch the church group, right? But if you do 2 to 4 and the Falcons are playing, it might be a lousy turnout, right? If you try to do it Saturday and the Georgia's playing a good team or whatever, then no one might come. Or if it's raining, no one might come. My advice to you, I know that's going to sound crazy, but do whatever makes sense for your calendar. If you've got somewhere to be at 4 o'clock on Sunday, then do it from 12 to 2. If you work, it will work. But if every time you schedule an open house at 4 o'clock on Sunday because some random dude told you that's what worked, and that causes you to miss every single softball game of your sons, how are you going to feel? Is that fair? Man, I feel like I'm coming on strong today.
No, but it's good. It's tough love. We all need to hear it though. I appreciate it.
It's like you're waiting. It's like you're waiting for somebody to tell you that Saturday is not as good as Sunday, so you never have to do an open house on Saturday again.
No, Bill, this is good because I get hung up with, it's so much stuff, and you like, okay, what's the correct way to doing it? It's almost
no
like there's
correct way.
only
We're all
one way.
realtors.
Right. Yeah.
None of us are correct. All right.
Right.
Let's get that right off. There's human beings, and then there's people that have real estate licenses. There's 2 totally separate groups. Okay.
This is good because you can kind of scratch some things off. Like, okay, I don't need to focus on this. Next.
That's right. You're going to have some beautiful smart plans that you ain't got nobody on.
Exactly. It's like, oh.
Okay. I can't wait to hear it. Oh man. Robin, Sissy, all of y'all are at the door. Smart plans, what are you telling them? Okay, we cool on that? Which day, what time? All of them work. Just be strategic, right? If you don't want to sit there all day, then don't have your open house all day. You see what I'm saying? One thing I might suggest is like a neighbor, like let's say you do it from 1 to 4, and yet from 1 to 2 is maybe that's not on the flyer, right? The FMLS or whatever says 2 to 4, but from 1 to 2, that's when you can knock the doors and say, hey, we're going to have just for the neighbors from 1 to 2, if you'd like to come by and, you know, see what the Smiths did in their backyard or see what the Smiths did in their master bathroom or something like that, right? And then you get a little bit more of maybe it's not as hectic in the space while you're trying to have conversations. And for crying out loud, don't have a bad attitude about a neighbor showing up. That's the whole point. You're supposed to speak with humans. You must like living here because you're still living here, right? So you probably bought for 300. I'm trying to sell this place for 400. This place sells for 400. Woo, you got some equity. Should we have a conversation around that? I think so. Make sense? I don't care who walks in the door. I want to have a high level, business minded, opportunity based conversation with you. Make sense? All right, beautiful. Okay, let's talk about pre-open houses for a second. Okay, this is quote where to find them. Okay, or in part. Let me share my screen really fast. Yep. Hang on. All right, can you guys see this?
No,
Yet.
Okay, this show up yet?
No.
All right, sorry, it's coming. Hang on. Can you guys hear me though?
Yep.
Okay, so here's the deal with open houses is you can go to the Matrix like homepage. You guys see my screen now, right?
No.
No,
I don't.
still not.
No, kind of like go.
What?
There we go.
All right, you see it?
It's coming up. It's loading.
Okay. So you can look at this list as if it's like a cold calling list. Okay. If you want to speak to a human, then you call the list. If you want an open house, you call the people with listings, right? So here is my office active listings, 77 active listings right now. So the first thing I would do is I would look for properties that are in areas that I desire to work in, right? If somebody has an awesome open house in Decula, I don't particularly want to work in Decula, right? So I'm not going to do that one. But this one in Roswell, I might be interested in doing, or let's choose another one just for, let's say Hiram. Oh, Hiram, I love Hiram. Let's say I live near Hiram, right? So I see this new listing. It's by Kim Ackerman. I call Kim. I say, hey, congratulations on that new listing at 133 Country Club Lane. I was curious. I'd like to help you. Would you like some assistance with an open house? Or would you like me to host an open house for you? I'm available Saturday at 2 or Sunday at 3. Do either of those work for you? Right? You're gonna get more people that are willing to give you that opportunity if you call them and ask for it. Right? If you think they're gonna call you, it ain't gonna happen. Okay, so let's go up to let's pick one that is got pictures.
Bill, where in Matrix did you go for that?
So I think it's called the dashboard. It's just like the front page, My Matrix.
Okay,
that
got it.
Has all
Okay.
of these widgets and whatnot here.
Okay.
So my office active listings. Okay, so like, here's one. Now this is in Team Kimberly. This is over in Buckhead. I probably would not host open houses at $1.9 million listings, although it'd be awesome to find a buyer. Not many $1.9 million buyers are walking around unrepresented. I would probably be in a price range that was a little bit more strategic, right? I'd probably max out at like maybe 600,000 or 700,000. Okay, if you can afford a $2 million home, you're not looking for a random realtor in a random house. You're calling your buddy who knows realtors. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm looking at what's going on. You know, so here's a property. This is in Sandy Springs. Does it have nice pictures? Is it convenient to my home, etc.? Right? You don't have nice pictures. You think anyone wants to come? Probably not. Right? So find one with great pictures. Here's a house in Roswell. This one's available for rent. Probably not much benefit to doing an open house for rental. Okay, let's see if we can find another pretty one. Okay, Terraces of Dunwoody. It's got a gate. It's gonna be a pain in the ass to get people through for an open house. Excuse me, it might be worthwhile, but you're asking yourself, what are the things that can get in the way of me being successful here? Right? You'd basically have to have a little printout that says, if you're here for the open house, press 123 Hill Street, or 123 pound to be let in. The thing could fall and you wonder, oh, no one came, and you get out there and that little sheet's on the ground and you're like, oh wow, that was a wasted Sunday. You see what I'm saying? So you gotta look at a lot of different things. And again, not trying to like toot my horn here, but the more you know about these addresses and neighborhoods, the more you know, right? Dunwoody Park, Terraces of Dunwoody, like, do you know where that's at? Do you know roughly how much they cost? Do you know if there's 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 4 bedroom? Like, do you know anything about those communities, right? So you can use this as an opportunity to learn what's going on out there in the marketplace, right? So, oh, Burns View Court in Lawrenceville, right? I don't know this neighborhood so well because I didn't do a whole lot of work in Lawrenceville, but I might look at this and say, oh my gosh, 260. I'm probably going to see a lot of first-time home buyers, right? They're, on average, probably going to be a little younger, right? Which means more transactions, real pretty pictures. You see what I'm saying? I'd probably look at that one. Call Scott West. Hey, Scott, congratulations on your listing on Burns View. How'd you get that listing? Right? How's the activity? Can I help you? I'd like to do an open house on Saturday. Would that be okay? Right? By the way, that's showing initiative, right? People with listings are, oftentimes in growth mode, right? Hey, I might need some help with showings. Hey, I might need some help with sign installing. Hey, you want to come shadow me and listen to me prospect for 2 hours, right? If you show yourself as somebody who is learning based and helpful, then opportunity is more likely to come your way. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is where you can find open houses. Okay, this is one strategy. You could also post in Roswell's Facebook group or Georgia Legacy's Facebook group or something like that. Okay. All right, let's talk about the rest of the pre-open house strategy for a second. Okay. The idea is here, I'll name a bunch of things you can do, and then you can decide what resonates with you. Okay. You could knock the doors in the community. Let's say you go, 20 doors to the right of the house, 20 doors to the left of the house, and 50 doors across the street, right? Hey, I'm Bill. I'm gonna be hosting this open house. The Reynoldses are moving. They've got their home on the market. We're gonna be doing an open house Sunday from 1 to 3. From 12 to 1, we're actually inviting the neighbors over so you can see some of the renovations they've done. I think you'll really like it. Would you be available to swing by from 12 to 1? We're gonna have donuts and coffee or whatever.
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I got a question with regards to that preview for the homeowners in the area. where you're saying that 12 to 1 if you're doing a 1 to 3. Now, how would you block off that 12 to 3 time on showing time? Because how about if other agents are, want to show the home between that 12 and 1 period? Just out of curiosity.
That's a great question. I probably would not go through the effort to do that,
Okay,
but if you did, I don't think there would be a problem with that at all. In some ways, I'd rather there be a bunch of people at the house. Right?
gotcha.
Hey,
Okay,
there's a lot of cars here. We got a lot of people interested. You better take action quickly.
right.
Right? Oh, you want this number of buyers flirting with you as a seller? When would you like to talk about being a seller? You see what I'm saying? Let's show them evidence that the market is moving. Make sense?
Gotcha. Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can there could be some kind of collateral, right? Hey, here's a little flyer of the open house. It has all my contact information here. Should you need anything, I hope to see you at 12 o'clock. Hey, by the way, while I'm here, as you can see, there's very low levels of inventory. This is the 3 ask script, by the way. Very low levels of inventory right now. I'm sure you've seen, very, very hot sellers market. Our team's working with a lot of buyers. We just having a hard time finding what they're looking for. I got to ask, have you thought about putting your home on the market? Have you thought about moving? Right? Would you have any questions about that? Is there any questions you've been dying to ask a real estate agent while I'm right here? Right? By the way, do you happen to know anyone else in the area or from church or work that's talked about moving that our team could potentially help? And last question, Anthony. When it comes to real estate, who is it that you trust? Well, that our old agent, she's about to retire. Oh, really? Okay. So is there any questions that you might have? I'd love an opportunity to earn that responsibility. Right? The mission of my sales organization is I'm helping build wealth for my friends and family and those near and dear to me. So I'd love to do the same thing for you. Can you think of anything that you would expect your real estate agent to do for you that I can do for you today in an effort to earn your business whenever the time comes? Is that bold?
That's bold.
Is that salesy? I don't think it's salesy. I haven't asked for a single thing. I've only offered things. Right? At some point, you're going to have a question. I'd like to be the one you call. Is that salesy? No. Is that bold? Do you think a person is looking for a bold agent, or do you think a person is looking for a not bold agent?
Bold agent, definitely. Because they want to sell their house. They want somebody who's going to basically not just list their house, but sell their house.
I
What does
want
that
someone
mean?
bold for me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. You want me to ask? I'm going to ask you the same question again because I want to win for my client. I'm not just going to, lay down and be treated however I'm going to be treated. I'm going to be bold. My client's not looking for another friend. They're looking for help getting the job done. Right. And if somebody were to ever say, well, Bill, you're kind of assertive. I'm just curious. That is what you're looking for in a real estate agent, right? You're not purposely looking for a non-assertive agent, are you? They're like, no. They're like, all right, let's get going. I'm here to help you. Right? Okay. So you can knock doors, you can pass flyers, you can, post, you can do a Facebook ad, these kind of things. Do you post an FMLS about an open house happening? Maybe. Nobody's looking at that. Right? The vast majority of your traffic is going to come because they see the signs and the directionals and the balloons. Okay. So go put out a bunch of signs and a bunch of balloons, like a bunch, way more than you should, or way more than you think you should. Make sense?
Bill, I think 95% of the people who came to our open house last weekend was because of our flyers in the
Okay.
neighborhood. Even if we didn't speak to them, we left them in their doors and people showed up like, hey, I got a flyer in my door. So it still works.
And you can ask them, hey, how'd you find our open house today? Oh, I saw the Facebook ad. Beautiful. how'd you find our open house today? Oh, you knocked on my neighbor's door 2 days ago, but I wasn't home, so we didn't catch each other. But they said that the Smiths did something really cool in the bathroom, and I just wanted to see it. Beautiful. Thanks for coming over. Right? If you just got to find out where they're coming from, right? Because you're going to have a lot of kind of lines out there, and you want to know which lines are providing the best return. Make sense? Okay. You can do some more door knocking that morning. Hey, I'm here. I'm setting up all the signs. We're going to get started in about an hour. Just wanted to remind you about the open house, right? That kind of stuff. One of our, a former agent of ours used to circle dial and basically say, hey, this is Heather. I just wanted to apologize. We're going to be hosting an open house from 12 to 3 at a home around the corner from you on Sunday. And I wanted to let you know, hey, there's going to be probably a lot of cars in the street, so I just wanted to reach out and apologize for that. You're more than welcome to show up. We'd love to see you. We're going to do this or this or this or this. I just wanted to let you know, like, nothing's wrong. We're just doing an open house, right? And we're really trying to let as many people know as possible. Do you have any friends that are considering moving or potentially moving to the area that we should let know? It's like these scripts are essentially the same over and over. It's just a matter of how you drop them into casual conversations.
I have a quick.
You guys taking note of that? All right, Larry.
Yes, sir. So I forgot the term you use, but it's not soliciting. What is it called? As far as the door knock.
Canvassing. Like, I think Candace has used that term, canvassing.
Yes, yeah, that's the word, canvassing. Okay, gotcha.
Hey, I'm here to invite you to an open house. That's solicitation. Sir, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to disturb you. I hope you have a wonderful day. Move on with your life. You're probably going to piss off somebody. Just get over it. Just move on. Okay. Okay, let's talk about day of. Okay, we should have a sign-in sheet. Okay. The sign-in sheet is not, don't ask them too many questions, right? Name, address, email address, telephone number, and maybe who is the realtor that you're currently working with, something of that nature, right? Or how did you find out about the open house today? Okay. I'd say there's probably a decent excuse, if you will, if they give you pushback on the open house, to say something, or signing in, to say something to the effect of, the seller has asked that everyone that comes into their home, put their name and number here, right? Looks like we're probably at the tail end of COVID. Yet if somebody were to test positive, or there was some issue that we needed to get back to those that came into the home, we just want to make sure that we know how to get you. Is that reasonable? Right? If they make a big stink about it, it's not that big of a deal. Just as a small caveat, guys, you want to prep the seller or the owner to like put away things that are attractive, if you will, right? I've shown homes where literally there was like a cork board in the home office where it was like Bank of America, username, password, right? Like retirement account, username, password, like just ridiculous stuff that should not be for the public, right? I've also seen, wads of cash. I've seen pill bottles. Unfortunately, people are doing weird stuff, right? So, they go up to the master bath and they see some painkillers or whatever, and they grab them and they're like, oh, thanks for the open house, it's so nice. Next thing you know, the pills are gone, right? So there's a lot of stuff that you just need to be kind of aware of. That's kind of why I recommend doing it in a team, right? Maybe one person to, to be there for overflow, or to kind of keep a little bit more of an eye on the people that are coming through the home, right? That kind of stuff. Sign-in pages, if they want to do it before or after, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think there's some generalized questions that you should ask. They're basically the buyer intake page, which is things like, have you been looking for a while? What specifically are you looking for in a home? Have you seen a lot of homes in the area? What are your must-haves? Right? Is this a price range that you feel comfortable with? Not, are you pre-approved, or can you buy this home, or you look like you don't have a job, give me your pre-qual letter, right? You got to be super careful. Make sense? So you're basically just like you would ask a series of questions in the buyer consult, same questions, right? When do you have to move by? Do you live in the area? Do you need to sell to buy? These kind of things. Okay. There's kind of three groups of people in the world with respect to COVID right now. One group is not even like come out of the house yet. And I'm not mocking any of these, just so you know. One group is just basically completely shut down. They think they're going to get it from getting the mail, right? You have to be sensitive to those people. There's another group that are, trying to be responsible, and they are, wearing masks and these kind of things, not trying to get controversial, and they're doing their best and they're trying to be safe. And you got to be accommodating to those people. And then you got the people that are, COVID was a hoax and I'm not going to get it and yada, yada, yada. And they're like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask. The seller has requested that you wear a mask in the home. If you're not willing to wear a mask, then I have to ask you not to come in the home, right? So you got to set your own standards for your level of safety and not budge, if that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Let's see.
Hey, Bill, that goes with buyers. I'm sorry. That goes when with the open house, putting the valuables away. That goes with also when you're showing a buyer a house, when you're walking around the house, especially their kids, because I've done some where people have left firearms out. And if they've got kids, you're like, hey, and it's just, I just can't, fathom it. We just talk when we get out of the house, but I see it because I'm very observant, and we as agents should be. You just kind of like let them know, hey, I saw a firearm downstairs, and you just kind of let them know. So I just wanted to kind of add that as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. That I have not seen. I've walked in on women taking showers. I have walked in on, I showed a little tiny studio in Midtown one time that essentially was like an art studio, if you will. It wasn't meant to be, it just was. They had like all these paint tarps down, and the artist was like, did all kinds of risque paintings and whatnot, right? I mean, we see it all. Good suggestion. Great. Yeah, that's exactly right. So the buyer intake questions are, it's not like any secret questions. You're just learning more about their situation. What is their motivation? What is their time frame? What's interesting to them? What's been their experience in the past? Have you seen a lot of homes? Have you put in any offers? What's the name of your real estate agent? Right? Do you have a home in the area to sell? These kind of things. So you can jot down all these things so that you know exactly how to follow up with them, and it's a personalized follow-up. Okay. I definitely would recommend a sanitation station, booties, gloves. You just never know what people want, and I would just have that there. You can do sign-ins, on an iPad. You can do it on a sheet of paper. It makes no difference. Okay. Follow-up. Let's do follow-up for just a minute, and then we'll end. Remember the point of just about every conversation that you have with somebody, the ending of that conversation should sound something like this. Anthony, here's what's going to happen next. This is going to happen, then this is going to happen, and then I'm going to do this, and then you do that, and then we'll huddle back next week, right? You know exactly what's coming, right? That's the way you want to treat your people. Okay, so if they come back and they say, they're getting ready to leave and say, hey, thank you so much for stopping by today. There are a couple of other homes nearby that are similar to this. Would it be okay if I emailed those to you, or would you prefer I text them to you? Right? So you're trying to find something that they essentially have giving you permission to follow up with. So find their problem and show them that you can deliver the solution at a future time, right? Hey, when I get back to my office, I'll introduce you to the lender that we were just talking about, right? Hey, when I get back to the office, I'll send you the name of my painter so you can wrap that part up of the home selling prep, and I'll call you and we can, I'll swing by maybe Wednesday or Thursday, and we can fine tune exactly what time to talk a little bit about the value and the marketing of your property. Sound good? Yes. Okay. So now when I call back, they're expecting it, right? Okay. So follow up again, if they came to your open house, there's a good likelihood they came to somebody else's too. Fair? So now you're competing basically with whoever the other agent is. And we want to win, right? So let's do something unique. We should probably have a stack of handwritten notes that we write as soon as we are done with that open house, thanking them for coming, and ideally mentioning something that's unique. Hey, it was so great to chat with you about the Florida State game, right? Oh my gosh, it was so, I loved hearing about, it was so interesting that we were both born in the same city or whatever, right? Just something that's unique to that conversation that you can cross-reference that shows that you were paying attention, okay? And that you had some form of a system to be able to recall it, right? So send everyone a handwritten note. So 2 or 3 days later, they'll get that in the mail. Before that day is over, I'd probably send them a video text. Hey, I just wanted to express my gratitude for stopping by the open house. I know you asked a question about connection to a plumber. I'm going to send that to you momentarily. If you have any questions whatsoever about this home or anything else that you find at any place, I hope that you'll give me a ring, right? Looking forward to the opportunity to earning your business, something of that nature, right? Video text. Don't wait till Thursday to call them. Okay, they'll probably be under contract by Thursday. Call them the next day. Hey, just wanted to again thank you for popping by the open house. I was curious if there's anything I can do to help you today. Was there any other properties that you might like me to show you? Do you want to see some sales comparables to the active listing that you just saw? Do you have any questions whatsoever? What can I help you with today? Right? And whatever they tell you, hey, my lease ends in February. Sounds wonderful. Sounds like we should meet. Right? Hey, my lease ends in October of next year. Awesome. Sounds like we should meet. Really? Well, I don't have to do I'm not going to do anything until October. That's okay. It sounds like we should meet. Do you want to meet at my office or your house or a coffee shop or what? Well, why do you want to meet so early? Well, here's the thing, sir. What I can tell you is there's a lot of information out there and there's a lot of misinformation out there. And there's some good realtors out there and there's some realtors that aren't as good out there. And I just don't want you to get matched up with the wrong person at the wrong time and make a bad choice. So I want to get to know you as soon as possible so I can be the place you go to for all of your resources, all of your questions. And whenever the time is right, we'll take action. Sound fair? Great. Would you prefer Zoom or in person? See what I'm saying? Is that bold? Very bold? I want you to start thinking like this is like baseline stuff. I know I speak very boldly, but I don't think of myself as speaking boldly. This is normal. This is how a business owner / salesperson needs to speak. Is anyone wildly offended if you were on the receiving end of anything I've said today?
Not me. Nope.
Not me.
Bill, I
Jenny?
was just gonna say I'm highly offended. No, I was gonna say I'm never offended by what you say. I appreciate it, and the insight's very helpful.
Well, pretend like you're a buyer or a seller. Would you be offended at anything I said?
No,
If I was a buyer or
No.
seller, I'd be grateful. Be like, oh my gosh, this guy's telling me there's information and misinformation out there, and he seems to know what he's talking about, and he's really confident. I think I want to give the business to this guy because that other clown told me they'd call me back last week. I hadn't heard from him yet.
Yeah, and another thing is, you telling them the ugly truth, because even though they might not want to hear it, but they will respect you even more because they see that you're not just, painting all Candyland type of stuff, but you're giving them, the good and the bad.
Yeah, I appreciate you adding that, Larry, because here's the facts. Um, I would consider myself to be a pretty good realtor. I can't talk you into buying a home if you don't want to buy it. And I can't talk you into selling a home if you don't want to sell it. So let's get off that right now. Okay, so now what's my goal? My goal is to help you. How am I going to help you? I got to ask you a bunch of questions. The reason why I'd rather ask you 20 questions and take you to 3 homes than ask you 3 questions and take you to 20 homes. Which would you prefer? You want to go to 20 homes or 3 homes? What do you think they're going to say?
3.
3 homes.
Don't waste my time. I won't waste yours.
Right. Hey, I'm looking at the inventory so I can save you time. That's the benefit of working with an agent like me. It's because I wake up every morning and I look at the data and I look at homes all day and I talk to buyers and sellers all day. And if you want to work with somebody that has their finger on the pulse of the market, I'm right here. You ready to get started? I mean, here's a buyer's brokerage agreement. Let me explain to you why this is important. I won't ask you to sign it today, but I will ask you to take it home and read it. If you have any questions about it, let me know. And I don't expect you to sign a loyalty agreement to me if we've only spent 30 minutes together. I expect to earn the business. So what do I need to do in order to earn the business? Are you looking for a certain skill set? Are you looking for a certain personality? Do you want me to communicate with you in a certain way? Do you want information delivered in a certain way? I want to earn your business. So what do you expect from your realtor that I could do so that we can work together? So what I want you to hear today is that, hang on. What I want you to hear today is that this same conversation essentially, and Michelle, I'm just finishing up on about open houses.
Hello.
I got like 1 minute left, okay? The takeaway today is that we could have called this circle prospecting. We could have called this FSBOs. We could have called this Facebook ads, right? The approach should be, has anyone come before me and shown me a great best practices? Pretty much any lead generation tactic that you could adopt, the answer to that is yes. Number 2, am I committed to being resourceful enough to go check it out? Number 3, what systems do I need to put into place in order to be strategic and successful with fill in the blank lead generation strategies? What do I need to do from a preparation standpoint? What do I need to do from the actual activity standpoint? And what do I need to do post activity, right? What's the follow-up in place? And the kind of the overall theme should be, there are somewhere around 45,000 realtors in Metro Atlanta right now. What is so special about you, Melissa? Now, I see you almost every day. I know very well what's special about you. Okay? She's great, isn't she? Right?
I just, Bill, that's all.
But you got to tell them what you do and why you do it, right? Or they won't know that you're awesome, right? So what are you going to do in a unique, customizable way to separate yourself from the next guy? Believe me, Michelle, would you agree? If somebody wanders into one of your open houses, do you think that you were the only open house they wandered into that day?
No, you can do the same. You can do the general same activity that they're doing, but you just put your own spin on it that makes you stand out.
There you go. All right, guys, I want to be respectful of your time and Michelle's, who I'm chatting with a little bit here in a second. So thank you for attending the pop-up class. I hope this was everything you hoped it would be, and it will be in the YouTube library from this moment forward. Y'all have a great day.